What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, you guys. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Anybody ask my question about the water? I don't know what drinking.
Right there. That's yours.
This has been drunk before.
By you. It's on to you. What's up, you guys?
So you said give me old water, bro?
Yeah. Antonio has so many requirements when it comes to just coming, just getting on live. Like, so many requirements. One requirement, if you ever see, he always has something to drink. So I didn't get him a new bottled water because this one was like at the top.
Ain't no telling how long this water been here.
Who cares?
It's at least a week old.
I'm still trying to figure out what's the problem.
At
It's
least a
your
week old.
It's
Don't even know
your
if it's my
old.
week.
Hey, Marie.
What's up,
Hey,
Marie?
Eva.
At least a week old.
How y'all doing today? Y'all let me know who's in here right now. I'm excited. I am excited to go over this. What's up, Chris? What's up, What's up, Mr. Dillard? What's up, AB? Hey, y'all. Got the stunner shades on.
It's our Men in Black edition, y'all.
Beam. Just like that. Hey, Sylvester.
What's that?
Chris say, too
It's
cool
super
today.
fruit?
Too cool today. I promise you it is. And today's episode is not brought to you by Purified Water or Twister.
Twist.
It's not.
Brought to you by.
Yeah, Jimmy, if you on, we're gonna send you the money.
Yet? Oh man, I am still in.
Technically not you, Yasmin. Technically not you. All right, Tonyo.
Let's go.
You rolling? All right. So I want who in here you have not done your first deal. If you have not done your first deal, I want you to just put me in the chat. Drop me in the chat. You have not done your first deal when it comes to investing. Whether it's fix and flip or buy and hold. If that's you, type me in the chat.
Me.
I was gonna ask you, was it you?
Side note, go to the X Super page. Make sure y'all come to my birthday party. You ain't gotta do all that. Make sure you come to my birthday party. A virtual birthday party. I expect to see all y'all there, especially all my people that's an RYD Decoded and on YouTube. Come celebrate with me. Let's laugh a little. Let's play some games.
Let's have some
Let's
fun.
have some fun together.
So Antonio is turning the big 40. To get the party invite, you must join the wait list, which is www.thedenmarksbday.com. Join the waiting list. I am super excited about this waiting list. I'm super excited about this party. Probably a little overwhelmed about it, but I know it's gonna be fun. Antonio, he's never had a virtual birthday party before. I've had a virtual birthday party once. This is your first one. He's not a big birthday guy. He is just lay back and chill. So I'm surprised that he's even with this virtual birthday party.
I mean, it's 40, so.
But, while he's with it, it's the one thing he finally told me yes to, because everything else that I threw out was a no. So, we're going to take these wins.
Now, she didn't accomplish the full birthday, but, we ain't going to talk about
bite-sized steps. Bite-sized steps. We got to have small wins that's going to lead us to the big wins, right?
And your student.
All right. Let's get started, you guys. I got some me's in the chat. Okay. I see my me's for the people who are literally haven't did your first deal yet. All right, let's get it. So one of the key factors when getting that first deal is understanding if you really have a deal on your hands. All right. That is the most important thing. Having a deal is not a feeling. All right. It's not I feel like this is a good area because the houses in this area that this deal is in sell quickly. That doesn't make it a deal. All right. That is a plus, but that doesn't make it a deal.
sidetrack. All right. So
Okay.
like when I first came to Birmingham, because I'm from Florida, I did not know why I liked some streets better than others, but I realized after a minute of being here that I don't like trees in the front yard. So if I went down the street and it didn't have any trees in the front yard,
It was a go.
It was a go. I wanted that house.
Yeah, it didn't even have to be a deal. It was strictly based off of the feeling, based off of seeing it. And just to piggyback off of that, I am also from Florida. So when I first came to Birmingham, there were a lot of houses that had siding. And siding wasn't a popular thing in South Florida. And I just couldn't understand, like, why does all these houses have siding? And every time I seen a house that had siding, I didn't want it. I didn't understand the comps. I didn't understand the numbers. Now you get me a house with some old school siding, some vinyl siding. I'm gonna paint it and I'm gonna go with it. My eyes have adjusted, but I will only try to go for brick houses because it was an appeal. I didn't understand how to analyze it. So the first and foremost step when you are trying to make sure you have a deal is knowing, how do I analyze this to make sure it's truly a deal? All right.
And a part of analyzing is understand what's a comparable property.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have a tree in the front yard or not? Is not a comparable property.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So understanding that there's a process that you got to go through to understand if you have a deal or not.
If you have a deal, absolutely. So first step when it comes to it is understanding the formula. All right. When you are understanding the formula, and I'm gonna add it to the screen so you guys can see, you want to know, okay, what's my formula that I need to make sure it's a deal? Here's the formula. All right. It's real simple. We don't have to recreate the wheel. We don't have to do things outside of the norm. We literally want to stick to the proven steps that work. All right. So ARV, some of you may know what ARV is. Some of you who don't know, ARV means the after repair value. Once the house, once the property, once the apartment, once the subject is fixed up, what will it be worth? What are other houses selling for that are similar to the house that we're getting ready to fix up? All right. That's the ARV. What will it be worth once it's all fixed up and pretty? All right. We want to take that ARV and we want to times it by 70%. So quick numbers. I'm always do quick numbers because I think you guys can get it faster. At least I get it faster with quick numbers. You want to take $100,000 if that's your ARV, and you're going to times that by 70%. All right. That's going to leave you what? Type in the chat. What's 100,000 times 70%? Let me see let me see if I got you guys.
And you got to do these things, y'all. You got to put this stuff in your own calculator to get the experience and get confident when you're analyzing these deals. Because you can watch this training all day, and then once you get in front of a property, you're like, now how they did, now what they,
right.
Practice these things now. Even the most simplest questions, practice them, drop them in the chat so that you know you got it.
You literally get better by repetition. In everything you do, you get better by the number of reps and the number of time that you put in. So when you put in that time, you develop a confidence with it because you've practiced it. Just like when you go to school, when you practice those math problems, you get better at it because you've practiced it. All right. I don't see it in the chat. What is, okay. I see you, Erica. Okay. So $100,000 times 70% gives you 70,000. All right. That's step one in the formula. Now after that, we want to estimate how much is it going to cost us to fix it up? What are my repairs in this house? Let's just say easy numbers. Your repairs are 20,000. If you take the 70,000 minus 20,000, that equals your MAO, the maximum amount that you can offer on this property and still make a return.
That's not what MAO means.
The maximum allowable offer.
You didn't say that.
What I said?
You said the maximum amount that you can. You never said what MAO.
I mean, a allowable amount. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. I see you, John. Absolutely.
There are some people that need to know exactly.
The maximum allowable offer is what MAO stands for. You're right, Tanya. You're absolutely right. That's what MAO stands for. All right. So that means if my maximum allowable offer, my MAO, is 50,000, and they're asking for 60, I can't give them 60, okay? Because the max that I can offer is 50 based on the repairs that's needed, based on what the house is going to sell for. All right. This, I promise you, is the most important thing when it comes to analyzing your deal, is understanding how to do the formula.
So the formula is the most important thing, but right under that is how to calculate your ARV, how to calculate your repairs, because all those things are fluent
hand in hand
within the formula. All right.
All right. You ready? All right.
You asked me was I ready, but I didn't say nothing.
You sure didn't. You ready now?
No, I want to do another one.
Okay, do another one.
All right. So let's say that and I'm finna put some math on y'all. All right. So let's say that the ARV is 150.
Okay.
And the repairs are 25,000. What is the MAO?
All right, I'm gonna put it back up so you guys can see it. So ARV is 150. You're gonna times that by 70%. How much was your repairs?
25,000.
Repairs are 25,000. What is our MAO? What's the max? The maximum allowable offer.
Thank you.
You know, when you create your own slang, but you're right.
All right. So ARV,
drop it in the chat,
is 150. We're going to times that by 70%. And then we're going to minus the 25,000 in repairs. That's going to give us our MAO. Got it?
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Drop it in there. Drop it in there. All right, we'll say it one more time. ARV is 150,000. The repairs are 25,000. How do you calculate your MAO, which is your maximum allowable offer? This is the most you can pay for a house. Like, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they are new to real estate, is they don't understand how to let the numbers tell them they have a deal. They are driven by emotions,
which is a big no-no. All right, big no-no.
all right.
Okay, I see you, Erica. Erica said ARV is 150. When we times it by 70%, that's 105.
Okay.
When we minus 25,000 in repairs, that leaves us with the MAO of 80,000. All right. Can we offer them 100,000?
Hell no, we won't go.
We can't offer them 100,000. We can't. We can't.
Great job, Erica. Great job.
Absolutely. We can't offer them 100,000 and our repairs still stay at 25. All right. The only way we can offer them 100,000 is if our repair amount changes.
All right. So we got that. We understand that.
We understand that. Yeah.
Let's go on to.
You want to do another one? You're fine.
We're good with that. I think we got that.
All right. So let's talk about why comps are important. Comps can make or break your deal.
All right. Let me say this, because we don't got it on here. But in order to get the ARV, we find comps, which is short for comparables. Comparables are homes that have sold in the area. All right. So that's why comps are so important, because comps is what we use to make up the ARV that goes into that formula. It's
what the appraiser is using when they make sure that, hey, you have a deal before the lender will even lend on it. No lender is going to want to lend on something that's not a deal. All right. So comps are extremely important because they literally can make the lender say yes or no, sometimes before they even send an appraiser out there. All right. Comps also help you determine what your rehab budget is. Ash, what do you mean by that? I mean that if you are in a area where there is most of the masters have a small stand-up shower, vanity, and toilet, and you want to do a double vanity in it, like literally the comps tell you what's selling. So what I like to do with the comps is I like to look at what are the comps that have sold in the quickest amount of time, within my range at the highest, and what are they doing on their rehab. I don't want to put like brand new hardwood floors on something that's selling with LVP.
What is LVP, Ashley?
Luxury VP, luxury vinyl plank. I had to do the acronyms. Luxury vinyl plank. All right. I don't want to put in hardwood floors that's going to cost me $5, $6, $7 a square feet versus something that's going to cost me $2 a square feet. All right. That
was a good example of how comps
in your budget
can help determine your rehab budget. Also, you're looking at finishes, countertops. Are they getting new cabinets? Or did they refinish the cabinets?
Did they do laminate countertops, or are they doing quartz or granite?
Yes. So comps can really help you when you're deciding on what your rehab budget is going to be and how far you got to go to make it comparable to the houses that you're looking at in the area.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Comps can help you with estimating the ARV, the value.
Mm-hmm.
So how we like to do it is, and I don't know if this is in here, Ashley, if it is, we'll just say it again.
Okay.
We like to take the 3 highest comps and divide the sale price. Take the 3 highest price.
The highest comparables.
We like to get 3 comps.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to take the sale price of those 3 comps and divide it, add them up and divide it by 3. Mm-hmm. And that's what we consider our ARV. So a quick example of ARV. If one house sold for $150, another house sold for $140, and then another house sold for $135, what would our ARV be? All right, we're going to add them together and divide by 3.
All right, what's those numbers again?
150.
150.
140.
Plus 140.
Plus 135.
Plus 135. Equals
425,000.
We're going to divide that by 3 because we did 3 different comps. And that's going to give us an ARV of $141,666.
Yeah. So $142,721. So understand that when we say the importance of comps are very important, that's what makes up the ARV. Because even if you know the formula, if you're plugging in the wrong information in the formula,
then it disregard that formula because now your equation is wrong. Yeah. So I think that's very important. Making sure that your comps are comps so that you can get to the right value. I like to, it's like a game with me. Like I want to make sure that the comps that I'm using are so good that the appraiser used the same comps. Like I want to beat the appraiser and know what comps the appraiser is going to use because it's like it's the big game.
And we're going to show y'all what we use to get comps.
Mm-hmm.
You can use Zillow, you can use
Realtor.com, Redfin.
Like all those also have comps, but they're just not easy to sort. They're not easy.
They're not user friendly.
That's a good way.
They're not user friendly. Yeah.
They're not user friendly.
And sometimes.
And they don't even give you the accurate information sometimes.
Yes, I was going to say sometimes it's not updated as fast. So, yeah, we'll stay to the end and we'll walk through some examples on what we use, how we use it so that you can get to that number.
And if you got a property you're looking at and you want to potentially see what the ARV is on it, drop it in the chat. And we got a chat. That's a chat. Yeah, drop it in the chat. And at the end, we'll maybe do 1 or 2 of them just to kind of see how we go through it and how we look at it.
All right, let's talk about what comps to use.
Okay.
So when we are looking for comps, we're looking for comps that are similar in square feet. We want comps that have been built around the same time, similar in finishes. Like we said, we don't want to look at something that has hardwood floors when we're not planning on doing hardwood floors. We want to look at things that have sold within the last 6 months, or within a 0.5 mile radius. Well, and within a 0.5 mile radius, not or. All right. Did you want to add anything?
So like this would be and I guess I got my own terminology for it. This is a green comp to me. Like if it checks all these boxes,
it's the go. It's the deal.
It's a go. There, I don't have any questions about if I can get 3 properties that fit within this model right here, then I'm super confident in my ARV.
Yeah.
All right. So understand that your ARV can change depending on who's looking at the comps.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
One area that some new investors find themselves in trouble is if they get their ARV from a realtor. Like sometimes realtors look at the ARV as a little different than investors.
Yeah.
A realtor likes to look at it on a per square feet method. All right, which is that's their thing. That's how they do it. There is times where investors will use that, but as investors, we like to be a little more conservative.
Yeah.
And get the average of the 3 properties that have sold that follow this metric here.
Absolutely. And it's important. You don't want to come in too high to where after you've renovated it, after you've done the things that you've done to enhance it, that you can't get it sold because it's too high. But if you come in conservative, I like to pick the lowest of the two. If you come in at the lowest of the two, then you know
of what two?
Of between per square feet and the investor rate. If I come in at the lowest of the two, I know for sure I have a deal. Yep. All right. I know for sure that if I stay within my budget, if I stay and control that rehab, control that part, that I can make a profit. But if I don't, if I come in too high from the beginning, my heart's palpitating the whole deal. All right. And that's what we don't want to happen. We want to make sure that we're analyzing it. We are not going with our emotions, not the butterflies. The butterflies don't mean it's the deal. All right. The butterflies could mean you about to mess up. Let me say that. For real. All right. So let's talk about the Denmark's rule. This rule is really important because it allows you to sort out the comps that are off comps. All right. They're not the right comps. They are basically fairy tales. All right. You want to make sure you weed out all the fairy tales and get to the meat and potatoes, because at the end of the day, we are literally buying houses to make money, to build our wealth. We are buying houses to build generational wealth. We are buying houses to supplement the extra income we need. And if we are losing money on it, it's probably because it started at the analyzing stage. All right. So the 333 rule, we want to make sure 333 stands for 300 square feet, 30 years, 30K between comp 1 and 2. Let's start off with 300 square feet, Tony.
Yes. So whenever I'm looking for properties, I want my property to almost be better than the comps I choose. So when we say 300 square feet, if my property is 1,000 square feet and the comp is 1,400 square feet, that's not a true comparable comp, in my opinion. I'm not going to use that as a comparable. Even if it's nice, pretty, and finished, I'm not going to use it. If it's 300 square feet bigger than my property, I'm not going to use it. Now, I don't mind my property
being bigger. Go. That ain't what you was going to say. Go. My bad. Go. Let me see what you was gonna say. You don't mind? You lost your.
You remember? Like, I don't mind if my property is better than other property. All right, but I don't want to make it to where I'm choosing properties that don't fit. All right, so I wouldn't use that comp. All right, I would totally throw it out and not use it. So that's what we mean by 300 square feet. If my property is 1,500 square feet and there's a property that's 1,000 square feet, I use that comp. Because if it's a good comp, if that property sold in line with the other houses, I would use it. Because I know my property is better. If they sold that house for X amount and my property is bigger, I'm going to sell mine for at least that amount.
At least. Preferably even more.
Understand that square feet is one of the biggest things that you're looking at because size matters.
Size does matter. All right. The next rule in the 333 rule is 30 years. All right. I want to make sure that I'm not, if my subject house was built, it's coming. If my subject house was built in the 1950s, I don't want to look at something that and compare it to something that was built in 1990, all right, 1980. I want to make sure that whatever I'm comparing it to is not 30 years younger than my house. All right.
Example, you got to put it in real terms. All right. So, as you said, my house is built in 1950. I'm not going to compare my house built in 2000. That's a 50-year difference.
Big facts.
That's a huge gap.
They're not comparable. That house is newer. Like it just doesn't work.
It does not work.
They're not apples to apples. All right.
Even if the square feet here,
the bed and bath. No.
If my property built in 1950 and that property is built in 2000, I'm not going to use it. I'm not confident in that comp.
Now, if it was the opposite and I was built in 2000s and the house that sold with a very high comp was a very high comp and it sold and it was built in 1950s, I'm going to use it because I automatically look better. But when it's flipped and I don't look better, I'm not using it. I only want to use things that makes me stand out, that makes me shine. All right.
Yep. Or that's real similar. All right. And that's so important because we try to force comps when they're really not comps. And if you want to do properties and have good leverage and you want to be in these properties good, you gotta follow these rules.
You have to follow them, you guys.
All right.
It's absolutely no other way. You have to follow them. The other way really makes you lose money. It makes you have to sit in the deal longer than you anticipated. Like you have to follow these rules.
And I'm gonna give you an example of like the 30 year. Like in some parts of Birmingham, there's subdivisions being built, and they're being built right next to properties that's been there for 100 years.
Yeah.
Pleasant Grove, for example. You got properties that was built in 1920. You got properties that was built in 2000. Just because it's a street dividing those houses does not mean it's a comp.
That's right.
If that's a subdivision, that subdivision does not come up in my comparables to this house that was built in 1925. All right. I'm gonna try to get if I have that new build now, if I have that newer house and that house across the street, so I'm gonna use it. But if I got that old house, I'm not using those new comp sales over there, those new house sales.
Absolutely. All right. So 333 rule. We want to make sure that the subject property we're looking at, the comps that we're looking at to compare the subject property, that it's not greater than 300 square feet of our existing property. We want to make sure it's not older than 30 years old, that it's not younger than 30, sorry. And we want to make sure that between comp 1 and comp 2, that there's not a $30,000 difference. What do we mean by a $30,000 difference? Meaning, if comp 1 sold for $200,000, comp 2 sold for $170,000, comp 3 sold for $165,000, comp 1 is not a comp. It's an outlier. All right. We got to take out the outlier because it's not a true reflection of the comps. We want to make sure that we are the closest to what the market is going to be. We want to make sure we have a steady pulse of the market, and using that outlier is going to give us a false inflation of the market. And that's what you don't want. You don't want the false inflation of the market.
And man, we talking about this stuff, y'all, but I promise y'all, people have lost money because they're not following these rules. And they're letting somebody else tell them this is the ARV of the house when it's not.
Yeah. So let me say this. All investors, you have to know how to analyze the deal before you take it to anyone else. All right. You have to know if it's the deal before you take it to anyone else. This is literally the steps to knowing if you have a deal. And it's simple.
And if you're working with the agent, I'm not letting the agent tell me it's a deal. I'm going to my agent to confirm what I already know.
Yeah.
If I say the ARV is 200, I might go to her and say, hey, what's your thoughts on this property? if she come back and say, hey, 150, okay, good. I'm gonna go 200. Tell me why you say 150. What you see different than what I see. But I'm gonna use her to just confirm what I see. I'm not using her to lead me or him, as you like to say. Now the trick is that third comp sometimes can be a $30,000 gap. But as long as I got two comps, and let's say Ashley's examples, I got a 205, I got a 200, but I got a 170. I'm confident because at least two of them have sold, not just one.
Right.
Now I'm gonna still
use
that 170
at a greater price versus just one selling at a greater price. You're gonna use, sorry.
No, you lost it.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. Any questions before we move on? Any questions?
And we said a lot. So ask some questions.
Do everybody understand the 333 rule? If you understand it, let us know. And I see your question, Sylvester. We're going to actually talk about it in a few. That's coming up. All right. As you guys are typing in your questions. All right. Yes, understood the 333 rule. Good. Okay. I see y'all. All right. So once you've identified the comps, let's make sure the finished product is what the finished product is. All right. You want to look at the pictures online and you want to look at the property. You want to make sure that the finishes are similar to what you want to do. You want to make sure that it's not a property that needs a rehab that you are adding to your comp when you're trying to find a finished product. All right. So looking at the pictures is extremely important once you've identified your comps. All right.
Can I answer this question? Mm-hmm. All right. So Ms. Marie put, what about distance? Does that matter as much? Yes, that's extremely important. All right. And I'm gonna kind of give y'all our base formula, and then we can talk about the distance with it. So we like to be 6 months back, and we like to be a half a mile radius out. All right. If for some reason I can't find what I want in those parameters, I will go a mile out. Mm-hmm. All right.
But there's always a but.
I mean, going on, but
I want to be as close to those 6 months when I go a mile out. So if I have some that were 7, 8 months, I want to go with the 7 to 8 months comp before I go with the 12 months comp. All right. Does that make sense?
You just totally crossed over what we were saying. We're talking about distance, not age, not year back.
No, I'm saying if I go to distance, then I want to go in the distance the closest to the months.
We got 6 months. That's all we're showing right now.
Okay.
We got 6 months back and we got a mile out. We ain't even got them 7
You're right.
months.
I just went forward. Sorry. You're right.
You went too far. I did. All right. So what we like to do is 6 months back, a mile out. Now, let's say for an instance, we can't find what we were looking for. Then I'm going to go to what my wife was talking about. Yeah. I'll go a year back, but then I'll only go 0.5 mile radius out. I don't do both of them. I'm not confident at all. If I got to go a mile out and a year back to find 3 good comps, my confidence level in that ARV is shaky. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try to be very conservative. But I'll do either or, especially in today's market. You might have to do either or more often than you want to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So distance matter. If you in the country, you just got to adjust appropriately. I don't like doing properties in the country. That's just a personal opinion because the comps get sketchy. And sometimes when you're trying to sell, your market isn't that big of a market to sell. And then your house sometimes has to sit longer, and it's hard to refinance out of it because there aren't any comps. So we always try to make sure whatever property that we buy and how we teach it is we want to be able to refinance out of it if it sits on the market and we can't sell it. Yeah. All right. So yes, Miss Marie, yes, I'd rather be closer in age and date than anything because the farther I am away from, if I'm a year out, the farther I'm away from the market. I want to be as close to the market as I can get. Even if I don't like what it's telling me, I need to go into it knowing what I'm dealing with. Great question, though, Miss Marie.
Wakanda said, can you explain again the rule for the 300 square feet?
All right. So 300 square feet is the top one. All right. My property is 1,000 square feet. I'm not going to the basement part. Just say I'm 1,000 square feet. And the comp that I'm looking at is 1,400 square feet. I'm not going to use that as a comp because that property is so much bigger than my house.
Right.
All right. I'm not going to use it. I'm not confident in it. Space really matters. All right. But if we flip it and let's say that my property is 1,400 square feet, but it's a really good comp at 1,000 square feet, I use that comp all day. Because remember, I'm looking for the 3 highest comps in the area. All right. If that comp is 1,000 square feet and mine is 1,400 square feet, I'm confident I should be able to sell mine for whatever they sold theirs for. All right. So just understand that when you are looking at it, you want to try to make sure that your property is better. All right. Now, if that 1,000 square feet ain't no good comp, I ain't using it. I'm gonna find the best 3 comps. Mm-hmm. So the goal is to find the highest 3 sold properties that fit these parameters.
Mm-hmm. All right. I seen the message, but it went off. But what are comps? Comps are comparables. They are houses that are similar in the make, similar in style to each other. All right. You want to make sure that if you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you don't want to comp it with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. All right. Or a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. You want to comp it with other bed and baths that are similar, styles that are similar.
Do we got that in here?
We don't. One thing we didn't talk about, and when you were going, it made me remember exactly this part that a lot of investors mess up with when it comes to comps. All right. When it comes to determining what their rehab is going to be, determining what their wow factor is going to be. Most houses in this area have basements. And we buy houses with basements that are unfinished, and we want to finish them because it brings a desirability to it. Everybody wants this ultra mega big house that has a finished basement, all of that good stuff. But when you are running your comps, understand that extra 300, 400 square feet from your basement is not added to your square feet of your house. All right. That's just a bonus. It's not added. So meaning if you have a 1,300 square feet house and that's on the living area, the main area, and then you finish your basement, and your basement is 300 square feet, that doesn't make your house 1,600 square feet.
It does not.
It only makes it 1,300 square feet. The appraiser is looking at the living quarters, all right? The main level. The underground area is added as basically an enhancement, a plus minus. But if it takes you let's say $7,000 to finish out that basement, get it framed up, get your electrical, get your water and all that going, you're probably going to get a $2,000 boost on how much your house is worth. So you really got to make sure your numbers work when it comes to finishing out basements, because you don't get the dollar amount credit for finishing out basements as you do if you build something on the main level. So what do I mean by building something on the main level? Enclosing a sunroom and it being on the main level, adding a heat and air supply. You'll get a lot more money and bang for your buck doing something like that versus finishing out a basement.
Adding a deck.
You
get value for that.
Yes.
So I'm going to repeat what you said in a different way.
Okay.
One of the biggest issues I see when wholesalers send me comps is they like to include that basement as square footage, and it's not, y'all. Like in the example Ashley gave, you got 1,300 on the main level, you got 300 in the basement. They want to see you properties that got 1,600 on the main level and say that's a comparable.
It's not.
It's not. It's not the same, y'all. So understand, you got to really pay attention to that. And even when you are looking at listings, making sure that you're looking at the living square feet and clarify this. The whole basement doesn't have to be underground to be considered underground. It can be a partial part of the basement underground.
Any part of it is
any part of it is underground, it's considered underground. Yeah. If the right part is I can walk out to the street and the left part is underground, it's underground.
It's underground. It's a basement. It's a basement. Yeah. So that is extremely important when you are looking at other comparables, because again, we're making sure we're looking at them apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Correct. Marie said, don't count the basement as square feet. Yeah, don't count it.
Yeah, I don't even count it. Now I take account for it in my rehab.
Yeah, because I gotta fix it up and spruce it up. If it has a room or if it has a bathroom in it, I know I gotta put a few dollars to it. But if it's not finished, I'm not just going in and finishing every basement I see. I'm not.
We don't let houses go
because the basement
it was like partial finish.
Yeah,
and it's like you don't want to spend the money because you don't get the money back on it. But then again, you're gonna waste more money trying to demo it. So like we don't let houses go because of basements.
Basements, yeah. If a basement takes me more than $5,000 to get it back right, I'm not doing it. I'm probably not gonna buy the house, because I know that it's not going to increase my value. And at the end of the day, remember, I need to make sure that I can refinance out of every deal.
I think that's the part you got to say that right there.
I need to make sure I can refinance out of every deal. I'm not going into every deal saying, well, I know I'm going to flip it. No, I don't know what the market's going to do. So being that I don't know what the market's going to do, I need to be able to refinance out of every deal.
Yeah. All right. If you put too much money into the property, go on, because I can't even get the out. You want to talk? Go on.
All right. If you put too much money into the property, when you go to refinance, you're going to have to leave too much money into the property. All right. And I don't want to leave my money into the property. I need my money to always be making babies. All right. Like we always making babies. I need my money to always be making babies for me. Okay.
You understand that time.
I need my money to work. And if it's not working, then I'm not doing something right. If it's sitting in the property and I can't get it out, it just doesn't make me feel good. All right. What if someone's living in a finished basement? Does it count then? No, like the basements count. Let me say this. The basements count.
We're not telling you it don't count.
Yeah, it does. It definitely counts. I'm saying that it does not increase your value.
On a square, they don't count it in your square foot of your house.
Right.
All right. Understand that.
They count it as just an add-on. So just like your garage, a 2-car garage is an add-on. All right. It's not increasing your value by $5,000, $10,000 because you got a 2-car garage. No, it's a $2,000 bump, if that, for having a 2-car garage. But guess what? It takes about $5,000 to $10,000 to make a 2-car garage if you don't already have one.
All right, you got to go back.
So that's what we mean by dollar for dollar. Okay, you want to go? Anything?
You sure?
I'm done. You can go.
You gonna go?
Let's see.
So scope of work. A cheat code that I will like to say is we have a base $25,000 scope of work. All right. You want to talk?
What is the scope of work?
A scope of work is a detailed line item of the things you're going to rehab the house. So if you're going to paint, that's a line item. You're going to paint the inside, outside. You're going to update the kitchen cabinets. You're going to put new countertops. All of those are line items on the scope of work. Mm-hmm. On our basic scope of work, there are certain things that we just got a system that we're going to do. We know we're going to paint the inside. We know we're going to paint the outside. We know we're going to put LVP in the living spaces. Living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom. We putting carpet in the bedrooms. We repainting the cabinets. We getting new countertops. We updating 2 bathrooms. We know we're doing that on almost every property we touch.
So being that we know that we're doing it on every property we touch, it makes it a lot easier to estimate our rehab and to go from there. All right. And to add on in increments to 2,500 and 5,000 for what we're not doing. So for example, if we are if we're under 1,500 square feet and we need to add a roof to it.
For you too far.
Okay.
This is based on a 1,500 square foot house.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Or smaller.
Or smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's over 1,500, we'll adjust that accordingly.
Yes, it's not a base 25 at that point. But let's just say you need to add a new roof and roof is not on there. Then we're going to increase it and say, okay, well, since we have to add a new roof, we're going to add 5,000. Depending on how bad that roof is, we may have to add more than 5,000. But it's literally based on the scope of work, based on the items that need to be done, and what's not on your scope of work, adding those additional things as needed, foundation, waterproofing, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. So for the most part, and I would say about 75% of the houses we do, off that basic scope of work, we maybe add 5 to 7 things to it. Hey, we might frame a bathroom, run some new plumbing. Or we might do a roof like Ashley said, or we might do waterproof. But that base makes it quicker to analyze properties. And it makes it quicker to, when I'm just going through, I'm only looking for things that's not a part of my base 25.
Mm-hmm.
All
right, ask your questions. I have an address in the chat that someone wants us to review. So I'm putting it in. But ask us your questions in the meantime, because I want to make sure that you guys fully understand and that we're not guessing it.
All right. So while she's pulling that up, just a quick recap. You got to understand the formula. Our base formula for getting how much we can pay for a property, which is called our MAO. It is ARV times 70% minus rehab equals MAO. So we talked about that in detail earlier. One thing I will say though is if you're dealing in higher end properties, and higher end is, in my book, can start at 250 to 300. 300 is definitely a higher end property. I can see going to 75% if I don't have a lot of rehab to do. Got me? So for the most part, if you shooting to stay at 70 across the board, you almost guarantee yourself not to lose money because there's enough room in there to make errors, pay people what you got to pay, and still get out of the deal. The thing about going to 75% is you lose a lot of your ability to refinance because you're at the top of the refinance market and you almost have to only flip. All right. So if you stay at that 70%, that gives you the option to sell or refinance when it's time and still get your money back or be comfortable in the deal.
All right. Am I in the
You're moving around, but you what you doing, babe?
I'm trying to get to the right area.
Trying to get to ARV?
Yes, I'm trying to get to the details on here.
Did you did?
I did.
All right.
Is that what's stopping me?
Yep. She getting it right, y'all. She getting it right. She pulling up now which website we use. We use the Valuator, and I'm gonna drop a link to it on here, Q. Because if you use our link, you get like a 14-day free trial for it. It's like $50 a month. But it's probably the best system that I've seen when it comes to giving you comparables. All right. Right now, Ashley is getting the back end up. She maneuvering some stuff back here, so that we can actually show y'all what we use. Well, while she's doing that, I'm gonna go over a rule that we didn't put in there, and I like to call it the +2 rule. All right. When we are looking at comparables, I don't like to be more than 2, whether it's a bedroom or a bathroom. I don't want to use that property if it's 2 plus bigger. All right. And let me explain 2 plus bigger. All right. So if my house is a 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom house, but the comparable is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, I'm not going to use it because it's got a +1 in bedroom and it's got a +1 in bathroom. So I don't feel that they're comparable. Now I do a +1. All right. If I got a 3-2 and that other property is a 4-2, that's a +1. I'm cool with that. Not saying that's gonna be the first one I run to, but if the square feet is about the same and all the other dots check, I'm cool with using that. Another example, if I got a 3-2, but the lesser house is a 3-1, but it's a good sale, I'll use that 3-1 because my property's better. All right. So overall, with a lot of the rules we have in place, do not look at false comps. All right. Do not think just because the house next to me sold for X amount that it's a comparable because it's next door. There are so many other factors that go into making sure that this house is comparable. You ready now, Esther? You can't get to it today.
I'm having a hard time, but we're gonna try and see.
Well, we can't get to it today. You is struggling.
I am. Make sure you ain't got no more questions.
Are we still here? We still here. Yes. You on YouTube, so it'll still be on YouTube. All right, like we ain't gonna be able. We'll do a separate video once we get it working. If you got a property that you want to comp, just drop it in the chat. And I know we got one property already. Do we got 2?
We have 1 so far.
Okay, that was from Marie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you got a property that you're looking at, drop it in the chat, and we can do it. Are you ready to go, Ashley?
I am. I think I'm there.
Not ready.
Not.
All right. Drop the property in the chat. We'll come back and make a separate video, and we'll show y'all the back office and all that because she's struggling right now.
I'm sorry, y'all.
All right. Any other questions about analyzing properties? How to get the ARV? What's a good comp? How to calculate repairs? I will say, finding your contractors is just as important as finding that house.
Yeah.
So make sure you spend time finding contractors, vetting contractors, building your database of contractors.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, day.
Peace. Oh, what are you talking about the birthday?
We still here. All right. But seriously, on a serious note, make sure you add yourself to the wait list, because the only way you're going to get the invite and the party information is if you join the waiting list. So www.thedenmarksbday.com, join the waiting list, and let's go.
I also got a book coming out, so I would love your support in buying the book on pre-sale. It's going to be $40 because I'm turning 40. So I love your support. If you want to know what to get for my birthday, buy my book.
All right. Love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing day.
Peace. Again.